I would be remiss not to ask about generative AI
Yeah.
since we now have ChatGPT, passing Wharton MBA exams.
Mm-hmm.
How's that impacting your business?
So far, we don't think it's shown up yet. But here's how I think it's going to impact the business. I think on the learner side, it's going to be an incredible learning experience. The idea that back in the day with YouTube, it was sort of what I call passive learning. You watch a video. You just sit there and watch a video. You could learn something. But when Coursera launched in 2012 by two professors, they said, we want to have active learning, which is you watch a video, but then you answer questions. You reflect on that.
Yeah.
You build a project. You give a peer review and discuss it in a forum. I think that what ChatGPT is going to do on the learner side is bring in a level of personalized learning and interactive. So not just active learning, it's interactive learning where I'll watch a video. It'll say, relate this to your personal life and then explain why, it might be relevant for your career. You say, this is why I think, and then it'll give you feedback. Well, did you think about this? Or if that's what you think, go check out this course. So the idea of almost having a personal tutor with you all the time, helping clarify things that you're learning, giving examples of things, helping you see other resources if you're struggling, even understanding how what you're learning might be relevant to a certain career, I think is going to be marvelous.
That's the plus.
Yes.
What about the peril? So let's say, for example, I've got a Coursera and it's the program is basically doing it for me. And so I'm in essence getting a credential through a program that I didn't earn myself.
Yeah, so I do think that some people call it academic integrity.
Right.
This is clearly something all the universities are worrying about.
And it's harder in a remote environment, especially when it's overseas and it's not like you have a camera trained on the person doing the program.
Yeah, so there's definitely interest in how do you assess people? And part of it is how do you make sure they're not cheating? But part of it too is what are the skills that we want to be assessing? As an English major, I think it's important to be able to write because for me, and I think most, the act of writing includes the act of thinking. When I'm trying to put together two thoughts to write it, I'm actually also trying to connect ideas in my own mind. And if I just outsource that to ChatGPT, I'm not connecting dots in my brain. At the same time, though, a lot of businesses are saying, hey, I hope that the universities teach people how to use this because this is a thinking tool that we want our employees to be using.
I mean, it's a great equalizer in a way. If you're over in a place like Poland, English isn't your first language.
Absolutely.
You can now communicate your ideas with the same ease as you or I.
And I'll go back to the peril, but you're totally right. I think that you're right. We'll see how it turns out. But I think very often, and you can understand why, people often equate the quality of your thinking with the quality of your writing. But if all the writing was high quality and suddenly I could have GPT express my creative ideas or my good ideas, even though I might not be expert at the language, kind of all ideas have a more equal chance to be heard without bias.
We do over-index on verbal intelligence, don't we, relative to other ones?
That's why I'm an English major. No, I think that's right. And so I think that what we assess and how we assess is going to have to change. I think where we might be heading, although it's 800 years old, the tutorial method in Cambridge and Oxford, where you have an interactive discussion with
Go back further, the Socratic method, right?
Yeah, go back to the Socratic method. This is a pretty valuable way to not only show what you know, but also develop how you think. And
how do you scale that? That's the challenge for you because your model's based on scaling something that was inaccessible.
Right.
I too can have access to a Stanford class.
Remember the way we started. I think that what this technology is going to do is take us from active learning to interactive learning. So interactive learning can not only necessarily be teaching me things, it can be the way I get quizzed.
Right.
Maybe I actually have a tutorial session with ChatGPT
and a webcam.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, here you go. And so it's like, how do I think about this? And how do I respond to novel questions or where are my blind spots? I think that could be a pretty effective way. It's served Cambridge and Oxford really well and has a lot of pedagogical evidence that that's a really effective instructional technique, but it has historically been very expensive to scale. It might be possible to scale that.